Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. As I like to point out each and every day, it expands our base. This is not a pleasant morning for me. The markets have not yet opened, but across the world, the markets are crashing. On top of that, you can see political developments in this country that are reason to have grave concern. Let me point out to you that we now face not only an economic turbulence, but we also face a political turbulence. Not since Herbert Hoover and his administration as president from 1929 to 1933 have we seen this kind of economic revolution or evolution or, well, carnage. Carnage may be the right word. I want to speak with you candidly this morning about my concerns about America, not only economically, but politically. The fact that our economy is now in such rocky territory is because of one human being, and that is the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. It is President Trump who has articulated this policy and who seems, based on his own comments, determined to enforce his tariff policy. I opened my radio this morning and listened carefully to what is happening around the world. From one end of the world to the other, we are seeing economic disarray. I'm not going to say collapse, but I am going to say setbacks and disarray and concern. And so the first and foremost issue on the minds of most people in the world is the state of the economy. If Donald Trump continues on his path, he believes that the world will be more stable, that a new economic era will begin, and that we will all gain wealth. But if, my friends, Donald Trump is wrong, we are in for a very tough few years. I don't say this lightly. I believe the American economy is fundamentally sound. And I believe if Donald Trump's errors, if they are errors, are allowed to continue, we are going to have tough times. But fundamentally, I believe everything will work itself out. But at what price? Remember, at the bottom of the Depression, there were those who said the American economic system would collapse. I don't believe that would have been the case. Inevitably, America as a nation always comes back. But the price for individuals, the price for people who believed that their lives would be better, well, that's in jeopardy. I want to talk about something aside from the economy, something that scared the living bejeebers out of me. The Naval Academy at Annapolis has pulled Maya Angelou's autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Why? Because of DEI. Because Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, his Secretary of Defense, and the Trump administration have decided to purge us of books that seem wrong. Let me be crystal clear. No book should be banned. No book should be removed from the shelf. And the minute you live in a society in where books can be removed from a shelf, we are all in trouble. Did you know that the National Park Service has pulled Harriet Tubman's story, the Underground Railroad, from their website? Are you aware of these kinds of things taking place in our country today? No, this is not right. Now, let me tell you, there is a measles outbreak, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has regularly denounced vaccines, has now said, well, yeah, maybe we should take that vaccine. Too little, too late, for too many. This is a sad and somber time. And the simple fact is, you can credit what is happening, including, by the way, oh yes, try to call your local Social Security office. You know, we've got a problem here. Although the Republicans claim they're not attacking Social Security, you can bet your last dollar they are. And you can also bet they are attacking Medicaid. You can be sure that 80 million Americans are quaking because their medical care may be limited or, in fact, destroyed. I am not a Cassandra. I am not one who cries, well, everything is terrible. Frankly, I am a fundamentally optimistic person. I believe in our future. But I must tell you that in this political climate, we should be terribly afraid. I want to conclude this particular podcast by telling you about dozens of students here in Northern California and across the nation whose visas are being revoked at UCs, at Stanford, at schools along the East Coast. Something is happening here that is terribly wrong. Oh, yes, and one more thing. Republicans in Congress seem unwilling to stand up to Donald Trump. In fact, when a resolution was put before the Senate concerning the issue of control over tariffs, Republicans voted that the Senate should not have control. The vote was 52 to 47. What has happened to American democracy? What has happened to the question of control? This is not a dictatorship. We are not a monarchy. The kinds of edicts being issued now by Donald Trump should scare the living bejeebers out of us. Do I sound like I'm concerned? The answer is yes. Now, I consider myself fortunate. I live in a community in which most people agree with me. There are many of you listening to the sound of my voice who disagree. And that's America. But when you have dissent being stifled, when you have political opposition being repressed, when you have a feeling around the world of impotence in the face of actions by one man who I would remind you is not a king, he is a president, we had better understand that we are now at a tipping point in the history of American democracy, when books can be removed from shelves, when student visas can be revoked, when an economy can tumble as our economy is tumbling now, and we can trace the whole thing to one person. We need to have courage to stand up and just say no. These are critical times in the history of our country. Every day I wake up and hear another story, read another account, and I become more and more concerned. Democracy is truly at stake. And if we, the American people, don't put a stop to it, what Donald Trump is doing, well, the damage will continue to grow. Let us hope that the voice of the American people will reach the Republicans in the Senate and in the House. Let us hope that they will stand up and just say no. Let us hope that the world will be restored to sanity and, yes, stability soon and in our time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a comment, a review on Apple Podcasts, and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand. That is, of course, our goal. You can interact with me, as many of you do, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and, of course, on my personal email. And to all of you, we live in turbulent times, and we have a lot to talk about. I want to thank Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this podcast. She makes sure that Around the Political World with John Rothman is up and running every single day. All right, hold on to your seats. Today will be exciting, and I'll be back tomorrow, right here on Around the Political World with John Rothman. See you then.